Hey everyone, Sivadovich here, and today we're going to take a look at Pigments by Arturia. Now in my last video I made some statements about digital e-waste and e-waste, and this is the first video showcasing something that I believe has been greatly supported over the years by Arturia, which is a little bit interesting because I usually am not the biggest fan of the way Arturia does its business, with the V collections for instance. They have the model that you can fairly cheaply buy into the V collection with Black Friday. And then if you want to update the V collection or upgrade, but there's also updated synths in there, you are going to have to spend usually around the amount you've spent to buy the V collection in the first place, and sometimes even more, which is a very annoying business model, and I don't like it. But on the extreme opposite of that is Pigments by Arturia, where they basically keep it updated in a very, very nice manner, adding functionality all the time. And it's just very cool to see that same practice in the same company. It's a little bit unexpected, but I can appreciate it. So Pigments is a synth I actually didn't pay for because I won it in a competition. It's also one of the reasons I don't talk about it a lot, because it's a little bit hard to judge value if there's no money on the line. But we're going to do that anyways. So let's just run this patch for a second, get a little bit of an idea of what we're dealing with. And then we'll talk a little bit about the features and why I think this is a good example of a synth that has been well maintained over the years. So that's some plunks from Pigments, sequenced by my Arturia Keystep Pro. It's a very Arturia oriented stream today. So let's talk a little bit about the features of Pigments, and the best way to get there is to just start with blank slate. So let's go to the welcome patch, which is just a empty patch. Pigments has two engines, they call it. Engine 1 and Engine 2, and you can select the type of synthesis from the little menu here. And there is 4 types of synthesis right now: analog, wavetable, sample, and harmonic. Sample and harmonic have had updates over time, and harmonic is fairly new. So they added a whole new synth engine to it, and in the sample engine they actually added granular synthesis. But let's start off with wavetable. Wavetable, pretty straightforward, has a wavetable with position knob and a nice amount of included wavetables. And as you can see with the updates, they have added more wavetables. So for Pigment 4, they added these wavetables. So that's pretty cool to see. You can also import your own wavetables. So that's always good to see. Now, this isn't the deepest wavetable synth out there, but it does give a very nice feature set to get you going. First thing I want to talk about is modulation in Pigments, because I think it's an amazing system, but some people don't like it. Basically, you can grab any of the modulators down here, click the assign, and just drag the knob thingy. And now the knob is modulated. And if you click on the LFL, you can change the rate here, make it bi or unipolar, and set it to any of the trigger modes. So let's set it to free running. These wavetable engines run through a bunch of modulators, which you can see down here: frequency and ring modulation, phase transformation, wave folding, And they have a unison mode. Let's start off with the unison mode, which is very nice because it has a stereo effect. It really opens it up. Let's do a little bit of linear frequency modulation. Slow that way down. Phase modulation. You can create some pretty interesting sounds very quickly. You get two filters with a nice amount of filter modes, resonance of course, and cutoff. And you can change the model of the filter. With some pretty resonant filters, if that's your thing. Keyboard tracking, of course. And the nice thing is you can also change the filter routing between series or parallel. And it actually has a fluid curve. And any knob with the blue line can actually be modulated, which is very nice. Going away from the wavetable, sample table, like I said, got a granular update. Let's just grab a string again, updates, give you new samples. Let's do this. Now this granular engine isn't the most complicated granular engine out there, but it definitely gets you quite a way there. And the harmonic engine quite fun as well. And aside from all these engines, you also get a bunch of utility here with noise modulators or noise engines, but also a sub oscillator or higher oscillator. Top that off with a pretty big effects rack. You get 2 effects lanes, an auxiliary effects lane, and every lane has 3 effects. Quite a few options here. Let's do a Juno chorus. And aside from that, reverbs as well. And the last trick that they have on board is the sequencer. Let's just grab a preset here. Nice and dusty. So we can set it to just a simple arpeggiator. Nothing that special, but you can also play with the probability of notes being triggered. Which can create some very interesting little lines without putting too much effort into it. And you can also let this regenerate a new sequence every so often, which is actually one of the features I quite like. Now, if arpeggiators aren't really your thing, you can also switch to a sequencer mode. And here as well you can play around with the regeneration. which is very powerful that you just get something going very quickly. I really like this engine. I use it quite a lot to get starting points and work from there, because it's just effective. It isn't the most complicated thing out there, but it just works. So whenever you just need something to work, I find this a very handy synthesizer. Same with the assignments of the modulators, just the fact that you can click them to edit them and just drag anything to assign it it's just very convenient. And it's very nice to see how much love this synthesizer has had over the years. So just with the sound banks, you can see from 2, 3, 3.5, 4, and 5 new sound banks. Like I said, new engines, the harmonic engine, the granular engine. It's just cool to see updates to the sequencer. So this is a very well maintained outing by Arturia, a company which usually isn't this generous in updates. So it's one of those synths that I think deserves a little bit of love in this kind of ecosphere of make, release, and move on. And that's why I wanted to quickly highlight it. That's it for this video. If there are any questions about Arturia or anything, about Pigments, I don't know much about Arturia, about Pigments, let me know, and I'll see you in the next one.